Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about blue to green deployment. Now, this is a strategy in which we are going to use an existing deployment type, which is recreate. So we are not going to invent, or there is no other, deployment type as blue to green. It's just that we are extending the concept of whatever we have discussed so far. There's only two concepts. One is basically your rolling update, another one is recreate. But recreate can be used for three different ways. As you can see, fixed update deployment, which we have just completed. The next one is the blue to green deployment. Another one is canary deployment. We'll talk about that later. But this blue to green deployment is basically recreates the the same kind of structure, and we will talk about that in some time. Now, in blue to green deployment, it's going to be very simple. We're going to create two deployments over here, as you can see on the left and right. First deployment we are going to create is a blue. And then once you have an update from your developer or your application team or someone, that you can go ahead and deploy the next version of your application and you have that ready for you, then you can go for a green. And then you can make the third version as blue again, and then fourth version as green again, so that you will have two of this, and then you can keep on updating your versions however you would like. So let's talk about the functionalities of this one in this video. Next video we will talk more about the advantage of why we use this particular blue to green deployment. Now, do remember, you need to watch this video because there are certain parameters which I've included over here, which you may need to understand a little bit more about your readiness probe as well as a default container behavior. We will talk in a moment. So as we are, when we do the hands-on, we will be actually creating both blue and green together. Do remember that. Why? Because we already have version 1, version 2, and version 3 of our application. We'll not talk about the version 3 because you obviously would understand and you know how to do version 3. Version 2 is the only thing which we will talk in the video. So what is the difference? The first thing is that this deployment will look for a unique keyword called method blue, which represents the blue of this deployment. You have to give this selector. If you don't give the selector, it is very confusing because you will see only these three values, and you will actually also look at this one as well, the spot as well. So when you create this particular application, so it will never let you create the spots, these 3 pods, because it will say already I have 3 replicas. I don't want more replicas because it will become part of this deployment. So it becomes confusing. So do remember that this replica 3 is going to be very crucial for us, which is defined over here. So what I have to do over here is that mention this selector as method blue, and here the pods template method should also be blue over here. And then as I told you, the first version will be deployed on blue. That's how we start our deployment, and then from second version we can go to green, third version blue again, fourth version green again. So this will be helpful for you to to work with different versions, and then you can even roll back. And you can also put another color called yellow, and then you can do version 3 as well. So it's not mandatory that you should go for version 3 over here. If you want to hold this as a backup or hold this for some time, you can also do it that way. So here you have the similar concept what we spoke earlier. The version 1 is there. And then the readiness probe, we have already seen some of the options over here. The HTTP GET and the variable of path and port has not changed. So we will talk about the initial delay. So specifies the number of seconds after the container starts before the readiness probe is initiated. So it delays the start of the probe by allowing the container to initiate properly. So this is basically what we have said or spoken earlier as well. So this is the time which you feel like your application requires to start up. For example, my application has a simple Nginx and it starts up in 1-2 seconds. So I can give 5 seconds as a max. If my application is a complex and database or an application server, then I can give 10 to 15 seconds if that's what it needs. If it's going to take more time, you have to give more time. Depends on the startup of your application. You can always start up your application without the readiness probe and check how much time it took for your application to start to determine an amount of time which is required for this application to start. The timeout second is a new value. Specifies the number of seconds after which the probe times out if no response is required. If a broad timeout is set, considered failed, hence it is set for 10 seconds. So that's basically a 10 seconds over there. And then period seconds, we already seen that specify the frequency of the probe, which is performed in seconds. So every 5 seconds, this is checked. Successful threshold, it talks about the number of success it needs to have, only one. Failure threshold is 2. So previously we had set it to 3. So it checks for like 2 times of 10 seconds period on a whole, and it determines it as failed, and then the pod gets recreated. So this is basically a recreation of pod in case it fails, or when your pod gets started, initial delay seconds will be implemented. All right. So now when it fails, it goes to a ready state. Unready state or not ready state. And then from there it works. Now, what is the restart policy? Now you can see one thing from the restart policy is that it's not as part of your readiness probe because there is a space over here. So this goes directly under your specification. So which means that this is a pod related one, and this is a container related one. I'm sorry, it's under the pod. It's under the container. So you can see that it's under the container. So it is basically talks about the restart policy. Restart policy specifies, for the container. Here it is set always, indicating that the container should be restarted if it exists for any reason. So what this says is like there are 3 policies available: always, on error, or it's basically never. So never means it will never restart. Always means it will, if a user logs in and then he does something, he kills the process, or he does a restart of a specific thing, or the server crashes or the container crashes, it's going to restart the container. Okay. On error means only if your container crashes, it's going to restart your container. Always is the best option because in case of human error or human accidentally kills the process, which actually keeps this container from running. So that one, or if there is any issue where the container crashes, or if there's any error for that matter, your container would be restarted. So it's always good to have the always setting over here for your restart policy for your container. In terms of the right side, the green one, not much difference from the blue one. So it's going to be like B to G, and then method to green, and then the method over here is green, and version is going to be 2, and version here is going to be 2 as well. This is pretty much the green to blue deployment. I'm trying to introduce more and more stuff when we go forward with the training, so that you can actually learn a little bit of the background as well, rather than just what is covered on the foreground. Thanks again for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.